think, is Erin Brunel with us, by the way? I know she wasn't able to like facilitate, but she's listening in or no?
I think she's joining a little late. So
Okay. All right.
it's on you to introduce our new committee members.
I think she's on.
She just
Oh,
raised her hand. Erin is here.
Yeah.
okay.
Erin. All right. So we do have new school building committee members that have joined on with us. Let me see here. Is Kevin on? Counselor Jordan on with us tonight?
Can't see him at the moment.
So Counselor Jordan is the counselor, the appointed member that's going to serve with us here. And everybody knows Isaka. Isaka was a non-voting member, and now she's joined on with us as an official voting member. She here with us too?
She is.
I'm here.
Isaka, welcome and congratulations, and thank you so much for sticking it through and now joining on as a voting member.
Absolutely.
You're welcome. Happy to.
And we also have, was there anybody else?
I believe that's it.
No, it's just the two.
Yeah.
All right. Review and vote on the February 5th school building committee minutes. Everybody
I'll
took,
make a motion to approve the minutes.
motion's been
I'll
made,
second that.
Thank
seconded.
you.
All those in favor by a show of hands so we can get a count.
Jamie, are you going to put your hand up?
Yep.
Not telling you to, just asking. I would say, and Tim, are you able to put a hand up or tell us if you're? I think I'm seeing everybody but Tim is able to vote. So I think we should.
My hand's up now.
It is. Okay, great. Thank you. So I think that is unanimous. Thank you, everybody. You can put your hands down.
All right, lowering my virtual hand.
All
All right,
right.
thank you so much. With that vote, motion passes to accept the minutes. And really quickly, I think I missed this part. Did we have anybody signed up for public comment? Anyone from the?
No. Nope.
No.
So review next steps from last meeting on other additional notes. I'm looking at the notes down here. We have an introduction to Fontaine, general overview, onboarding process. Margaret, want to
Yeah,
take it away?
I'm going to mostly turn this over to Petros and to Fontaine, but I hope everybody saw the great news that we had a successful general contracting bidding result, and Fontaine Brothers was the low bidder. I will also say we're the builder of the last model school based on this premise. And I know we have Tom here tonight, and Tom, we think maybe Dave Fontaine Sr. is joining, but it may be you speaking on behalf of the group.
Yeah, that's my understanding.
Petros, I think what we should do is, Tom, why don't you just give a little bit of an introduction about Fontaine, and then Petros, I think you could talk a little bit about the onboarding process that we're going through, if that works for everybody.
Absolutely.
And I also want to say if people have questions for Tom, this is an opportunity to ask them. So Tom, take it away.
Absolutely. Very happy to be on board with the team. Oh, wait a minute. Lost my lights. If I don't move around enough, my lights go off, so I apologize.
Same for me.
Dave Fontaine Sr., I believe, is joining. He had a big meeting today with the town of Agawam, and he may also be having trouble. He's not familiar with Zoom, very familiar with Zoom either, so hopefully he'll be able to join. So I'll be the senior PM for the job. Our super will be Mike Kavanaugh. He's got 30 plus years experience with us. I've been here 23 years. And Jack Keene will be our assistant PM. He's relatively new with us, but very capable.
Hey, Tom, hold on. Erin, did you have a question, or was that your hand being raised because of the minutes?
Oh, I think my hand is still up from the minutes. So no, I didn't have a question.
I'll make sure you were acknowledged. All right. Sorry, Tom, go ahead.
Thanks.
Yeah, no worries. Petros, do you want me to go into our activities for the past week, or do you want
Yeah, so I was thinking about that, Tom. I think that obviously Tom and myself and Chris LeBlanc have been coordinating, becoming each other's best friends the last couple of weeks as we get them on board, finalizing their contract, getting them, necessary documents that they need in order to file for building permits. And before I kind of step on Tom's toes, because I did ask him to give a bit of an overview about what they've been working on and what they're going to be working on the next couple of weeks before they get out to mobilized on site. Just there's a lot of coordination that has to happen up front. And Chris and me and Tom are emailing, calling, texting the last few weeks. So it's been a smooth transition so far. Getting him as much information as we can, as quickly as we can. Chris, Tom, not sure if you guys have anything else to add. Um, you know, the last couple weeks, what we've been working on together.
Petros, why don't you take the agenda down?
Yeah,
So
absolutely,
salary review. Yeah,
absolutely.
Tom, I think if you could talk about your priorities in onboarding,
Sure.
and Chris could add his own, that would be great.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've been dependent on Mount Vernon Group, and they've been fabulous in getting us all kinds of information to kind of get us off the ground. We now have a complete conform set of construction documents. We've got CAD and Revit files. Those two items allow us to really jump on a number of things. The SWIP, the building permit. We're going to use Procore for all document administration for the project. Having those documents allows us to get that set up. So that's in progress. We've got all of our filed sub-bid contracts actually went out on February 2. We've gotten maybe half of those back. We're holding them until we have a contract in place with the city, but we've got that all in progress. We've got contracts ready to go for site work, concrete and steel. All three of those trades are already working on the project with submittals and setup for the job. We've got all of our MEP, FP contractors on board for BIM coordination. We handle that internally, and that process is also being set up. We've got a construction schedule in development. We also handle the scheduling, the CPM scheduling internally, and we're putting together that schedule now as well. We've got all of our minority and women participation submitted, which will become part of our billing, the reporting that goes with our requisitions each month. We're in the process of procurement for the field offices. We're hoping to land trailers there in a couple of weeks. We're also hopeful that our site contractor will mobilize on March 1st. That's what we're working toward. The initial items for him will be, he's got some additional clearing to do, some grubbing to do. We've got to work on the perimeter fence, do some modifications and some extension to the existing fence. But we're hoping all that will start March 1st. We're targeting April 1st for foundations, and first couple of weeks, maybe middle of June for steel. So we're moving in the right direction. We've got all of our team members in place, and we'll as soon as we get the contract in place with we'll start buyout on the rest of the job as well.
That's great. Chris, do you want to talk a little bit about the next step with the submittals and all of that? Because I think everyone's aware that Mount Vernon Group assembled and put out the construction documents for the bid process, but there's a whole other process that's starting up now that the committee might want to hear a little bit about.
Sure. So just to let everybody know, I've personally done this will be my fourth project with Fontaine. First time working with Tom. The company has been fabulous, always great to work with. So we look forward to another successful project. As Tom mentioned, we're kind of at this stage supporting them to get the permit going, to get everything in line so they can start doing their work. And our job is kind of transition from the design phase, making sure that the city has a set of documents that can go out to bid, to now supporting the contractor in their work, right? Fontaine, Tom and his team, they're going to start submitting all of the information, the submittals for the products and materials that'll go into the construction of the school. And our job is to review those, make sure that they are in line with the design and approve them, and then help answer any questions that may come up during the building process. Coordination with all their teams, subs, to really make it a smooth process so that it goes well. We will meet with them on a weekly basis. I will be on site at least once a week to review things, answer questions, meet with the superintendent for Fontaine. We'll meet with Tom if there's questions. I think Tom and I are kind of the pinch point for information. So if you picture an hourglass laid on its side, on one side you've got all the subcontractors, vendors, suppliers, feed their information to Tom. At the pinch point, that comes to me and then gets disseminated to our consultants for responses and information. So it's going to be a busy process over the next few months as we get going. And then hopefully it'll just kind of smooth out to a level kind of process or flow of work. But as I mentioned, working with Fontaine's always been a pleasure. It's the quality of the workmanship's good, and I think based on our schedule, we're going to work to help them get that done in a timely fashion. So I don't know if anybody's got questions about that.
Yeah, I want to just pause and see if there are any questions. I see Aaron Brunel's hand is up, and I also want to welcome a couple of people that joined. So I saw Kevin Jourdain is here with us. Kevin, we introduced you, the mayor introduced you earlier, that your reputation precedes you. Camilla has joined. I think that might be it. Oh, Kathy Ortiz has joined. So welcome.
Welcome. Aaron, you put your hand down. Did you have a question, Aaron? You were the first one. You're muted. Aaron, you're muted.
Aaron, you're muted.
One would think I would know that by now. Goodness gracious. I was just saying I'm home now, so I'm on camera as well. And I didn't think I needed to say this, but apparently I just, for the record, want everybody to know I am not related to Fontaine Builders. Apparently it's been being questioned on the internet. So I'm just putting it out there that even though I am a Fontaine, we are not related. So yeah, just wanted to emphasize that while we're on the topic and meeting Fontaine.
Thanks, Aaron. Dave. Mr. Yost.
Yeah, I just want to clarify now that the subcontractor bids, those are what we discussed, I think a couple of meetings ago, or are we going to have additional subcontractors coming in?
Well, there's two kinds of subcontractors. There's the so-called filed sub bids, which are a big, sort of, I think I can never remember if it's 15 or 16 categories of work, which include some big ones like electrical, HVAC, and plumbing. But there are also subcontractors who bid directly to the general contractor. But that's within the general contractor's bid. So site work, concrete, there's some other folks. But I think Tom, I'm guessing Fontaine is in the process of getting the folks who are first on the site, which is the site subcontractor. And
Yeah.
Tom, I think it's Gagliarducci is your site subcontractor. Is that right?
Gagliarducci.
Gagliarducci.
Yep.
I took Italian in college, so I have a really hard time calling them gags, which I understand is what they're frequently referred to. But they are
Ducci, but
they are a subcontractor who is based in Indian Orchard. So,
Yes. we've
David,
done a lot of
does
work
that
with them.
answer your question?
so in other words, it's on the general contractor what the second batch of subcontractors are
They own the whole thing at this point, but some pieces of it get bid early directly to the owner.
what we discussed a couple of meetings ago. And as far as the materials vendors, that's also within the general contractors.
That's right.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
I see Whitney has his hand up, or
Yes,
perhaps Mr. Collmore has his hand up.
thank you, Margaret. This is Whitney. Tom, I'm maintenance administrator of the Hoyle Public Schools. Congratulations on your successful bid. It's very exciting. Your company actually built the last school that was built in Holyoke back in 87 to 89 with David Sr. on board.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, very exciting. Question for you in regards to some of the things that may be straggling on for materials purchases. Do you envision any supply chain issues regarding some of the primary components, specifically any electrical components and things like that?
Yeah. Typically, gear is quite a long lead item. I just got off the phone before this call with the new electrical contractor. Thankfully, that protest is behind us. He's sending me a list of all the long lead or any of the long lead gear that we will need to focus on. And he'll prioritize that for submittals. So we'll get all of those items to Mount Vernon Group so that they can review and approve with the electrical engineer. And then we'll get that stuff on order right away. And then we'll monitor delivery dates throughout the process until it lands in Holyoke.
From your recent experience in building projects, anything critical that you feel as though we should be aware of at this time, just to preempt and to make sure that people are not surprised later on?
Well, the things that are on our radar are all of the HVAC equipment, all the electrical gear. We've heard things about insulation. So sometimes certain types of insulation become long lead and tough to get. That's pretty much it in terms of the materials on this job. But we'll monitor all of those items, and anything that we need to release early, we will.
Thank you.
Counselor Jordan.
Yeah, Mayor or Margaret, just to catch me up as the newcomer, is it possible for me to get kind of a state of the finances? I've been hearing a lot of good news about things coming in under budget, in a number of ways. And I was just wondering if somebody could just do a kind of an updated sheet for me, just so I'm caught up. I know we got that wonderful news from the state about we're getting additional support from the original forecast. So we've had nothing so far, it appears, but great news. And then the other one item I wanted to ask about is it official that Dingle project add-on, I know Aaron and I know Aaron's been a strong advocate for it, and I certainly have, of that additional work. Is that going to be done? So I just wanted to make sure that we got a thumbs up on that's in the works.
Yeah, so the Dingle project was officially voted back in at our last meeting. And I'm sure Aaron or Margaret can send you some of the graphs that go over all of the costs, up to now, projected budgets, what actually they came in at, and how everything's looking. I'm sure Petros or Margaret's office can email everything over to you so that you can take a good look at it.
Counselor, in the chat.
Overall, though, we're under budget by how much, Margaret?
Well, there were the let's just talk about construction costs now, right? In total, I believe we're under by about 5.7 million from the 70 million that is the basis of the funding agreement. So that's without going into details about reimbursement or anything else. But I mean, that's the kind of very high level summary. And actually, perhaps what we should do, Kevin, is just, I think what you're looking for has been documented in emails that went out over the last month. So rather than make something special for you, I want to first share what the rest of the committee has seen. And then I think if you have additional questions, we're happy to answer them. But I want to make sure everybody on the committee has a kind of similar level of understanding.
I just wanna-
That's perfect, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Just really quick. In the chat, Kevin, is the agenda. And I'm wondering, do we want to have that conversation right now about just giving them the overview on where we are with the finances, or should we hold off for our next meeting? Or I just want to make sure that we're on target with the schedule.
Yeah, I think to stick to the agenda, it makes most sense to get him everything in writing, give him time to review, and then he has more questions.
Okay, and if Margaret, if you can if it's okay, when Kevin gets the information, if he can have whatever time he needs to speak with you directly,
Absolutely.
answer other questions on it, that'd be
Yeah.
great.
I mean, and to be honest, I think this is a major milestone in the project. I think we're going to start incorporating a little more information as we go. Each month now we're going to be doing an update on the construction project, so we can take time in a future meeting to do a kind of overall budget update. Because a lot has changed. We bid the project, the MSBA increased their reimbursement, the contractor's on board, and the money's going to start to flow. So it would be a good time to do that for everyone, I think.
Perfect.
Thank you. In my role as a city council representative, if you could give me some sort of one pager to share with my colleagues, that would be extremely helpful. That's going to be my audience, just so you know.
That seems like a great idea.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Fontaine and his team? Excellent. And Mr. Fontaine and everybody, we thank you so much. I'm very much looking forward to continue working with you guys through this process and see your finished product. So we have now the status of the contract update on bid protests.
Petros, why don't you take that? We have good news. So last meeting we mentioned that there was a bid protest on the electrical. So Petros, the good news is?
Absolutely. So we heard from the lawyer of ML Schmidt, who was the low bidder. They were being contested by Wayne J. Griffin. Their lawyer issued a letter late last week requesting a review with some new documentation. He's pled his case to Debbie Anderson in the AGO's office, and after about a week's time, some review of those documents, we heard from Wayne J. Griffin's team yesterday that they were withdrawing their protest based on the information provided by Corwin and Corwin Law. So ML Schmidt ended up saving us the bid hearing date, which was pushed to March 1st, which would have been a further delay to the project. So their lawyer was great. Everything that they needed was provided, and they were able to squash that before we lost any time. And that's great because just like Whitney was asking, with the electrical contractor, that was one of those filed sub bids where the materials can be an issue with long lead items. So to get them on board and get them going now instead of March 1st is great for the project.
Absolutely.
And Chris.
As far as the form of contract, so the form of contract was advertised, was part of the bid documents, and Chris LeBlanc's office is in the process of finalizing that so we can get it signed. Chris, do you want to add anything to that?
No, Margaret, I think you covered it. We'll have, I'm going to take a look at it tomorrow, make sure all the supplemental documents are there, the forms, etc. We'll get it over to Tom in the city. They can get that signed, pass it around, and execute it. We're also going to issue tomorrow a notice to proceed letter as part of the official documents. And then, again, support Fontaine in what they need to get moving as soon as possible. And hopefully we get some early weather break and we're off to the races with the project.
Awesome. Great. Well, if Margaret, you guys just want to continue right into the review of the overall construction schedule, unless anybody had any questions about bid protest, but it sounds like so I think we're okay. If anybody has anything, feel free to raise your hand. Otherwise, Margaret, you can just continue right into the overall construction schedule.
Well, and to be honest, we don't have a formal construction schedule, but Tom, I think it would be helpful if you could, in broad strokes, kind of describe what you anticipate for the major activities on the site over the next year and a half.
Sure. I think I mentioned earlier, we'll start with foundations, hopefully, as Chris said, if we get, good news with the weather. We'll start foundations in April. Those foundations will start with the really tall wall at column line E. And I would think foundations would be pretty well wrapped up within a couple of months. Steel, we would hope to roll in June at some point. Beyond steel, we've got roofing, siding. And while this is all going on, we're developing the site. So you've got your utilities going in, you've got subgrade that the site contractor will establish. He'll be clearing and grubbing that alternate one area down toward the high school and doing, that development as well. Then you've got the skin on the building, and then you start all your interior finishes. So hopefully, if this building is enclosed before next winter, that would be ideal. And then through spring into summer, you're wrapping up your finishes. That's just kind of in broad strokes, but
No,
what I
that's
envision over the
exactly what we were
year and a
hoping
half.
to do.
So question for chatting about that. I know we had talked about doing like a topping off when the steel work is complete. Do you know like estimated month where we can at least plan to look into inserting that into the schedule? Like if all goes.
Yeah, you're probably looking at that in August sometime.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. And we'll wanna start talking about that early. Right now, we're talking about sequencing. So I mentioned that tall wall because that's all part of our sequence. So if we start there and then we're coming around the lower level, if you look at it as a walkout basement kind of a building, that lower level, the steel comes around that way, and then we finish up at the gym and the cafetorium. But that sequencing all comes into play. We need to know, is the building going to be completely framed in August? And then we have to identify what beam is best for you guys, something that's visible, something that works for the structural steel erector. So yeah, we'll probably start that discussion in early July to try to identify, what beam and when it's in place and plan for it.
Awesome. Thank you.
So the thing I'd like to do right now, it's probably gonna seem a little backwards, but when we started, we've had several people join since we started, so I kind of held off doing for Tom what he did for us, which is to go around and have the committee members introduce themselves. So Tom, you can get a sense of who's in the room. So I'm going to call out names, and I just would ask you to unmute yourself and just say a couple words about, who you are and what your role is in the community, and if you have any particular things you are interested in on the project that you're paying close attention to, it would be great if you could speak up about that. So Mark Lubold, I'm going to start with you.
All right. Welcome aboard, Tom. My name is Mark Lubold, resident of Holyoke. went to Holyoke High School, went to Peck, so I'm glad to see that gone. Had my son just recently graduated from Holyoke High School a year ago, and I have a little construction design background, and currently manage a business here in Holyoke, and we manufacture packaging equipment.
Excellent.
Great. Hey, Sean Sheedy, can you speak up next?
Yep. Tom, it's great to meet you. My name is Sean Sheedy. I'm the building maintenance supervisor for the city of Holyoke, and I'm the city's representative on the DPW side. I work underneath Carl Rossi, who is the director. So basically, like the boots on the ground for the city, for this project, and many others. And myself, Petros, Chris, and you and Margaret will be getting to know each other very well over the length of this project. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And and me, I'm wrapping up college now for project management, architecture, and building construction management at STIC. Just finishing that now. And yeah, I've been in the construction industry my whole life. I've been on the city side now for a year and a half, and prior to that, I was on the school side. I worked directly under Whitney Anderson for 15 years.
Awesome.
So, Sean is the person who's going to be attending construction meetings on behalf of the city.
Okay.
I'm now going to call on Jamie Morrow.
Hi, Tom. Welcome. My name is Jamie Morrow. I am the chief procurement for the city. So, obviously, I'm involved in the project from the procurement perspective, and Sean and I work together to process all the invoices and the packages, and I'm the check getter. Welcome aboard.
Jamie is really, really popular.
That's good to know.
Everybody passes through her office at one point or another. So
I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes.
Chris, I'm going to skip you because you guys know each other. Actually, I guess you and Tom have not worked together before, right?
Yeah, Tom is one of the project managers I have not worked with. But yeah, I look forward to working with him. Fontaine's staff is always good to work with, and they work hard to get a successful project for the client. So
yeah, and Chris
I've only heard good things about Chris too, actually.
Yeah, Chris is in Ludlow. He's been fabulous. So all right, I'm gonna now call on Whitney and Ron, who is with Ron Collimore.
Mr. Collimore, you first.
Yes, I'm Ron Collimore. I've been on this committee since the beginning of time, and I can go back to when we had Fontaine Brothers in the 1950s, and we were very, very happy to have them working with us again today. One of my major concerns is, and it's been that way all along, is that we get the right material for the job, and so that we're not running in the last minute, running to get material to fix this and material to fix this. Working with Fontaine over the years has been wonderful. I think we ought to continue and endorse them for other projects throughout the state, because we've been very, very happy with them.
Oh, thank you.
Just one other thing, I'd like to thank Fontaine Brothers for supplying some bricks for our children in school to sell for a campaign to raise money for things like this. I think we ought to be very happy that we have Fontaine Brothers working with us.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
Appreciate that.
Mr. Collimore, he won't tell you, but he's also the longest serving continuous school committee member in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So congratulations,
Wow.
Ronnie. How many years now, Mr. Collimore?
44.
He keeps putting more and more distance between him and the competition too. So
Well, and if you really get to know him, he can document the fact that his ancestors came over on the Mayflower.
Okay,
Yeah.
next up is our fearless leader, Josh Garcia.
Well, Joshua Garcia, the role that I have here in the city of Holyoke is mayor. And I mean, I think, not much more to say than that, except, I'm here to make sure that we continue to facilitate, communicate what we need to shepherd the process along so we can get a middle school here built for our kids. Just in way of my background, born and raised here in the city, went through the public school system. I do have two children in the public school system, master's degree in public administration, minor in regional planning, a former employee of the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission, 3 years as town administrator in a small town outside of Westfield. And now here I am in this role, project managing in my own hometown. So happy to have you guys on board and looking forward, like I said earlier, to see the finished product.
Okay, Jessica?
It's Isaka. So Isaka
I'm never
Axelrod. I
gonna
know.
get it right.
That's okay. I'll send it out phonetically spelled. I am a professor in the College of Ed at UMass Amherst. And I live in Holyoke, and I send my 3 children attend Holyoke Public Schools. Young, they're all in elementary school. And yeah, I'm here mostly, I think, to think about, I'm a strong advocate for public education here in the US and around the world. That's sort of one of the things I focus on. And so, yeah, just here to lend support and think about how do we make sure that we have sort of a strong school system, including infrastructure for children.
Thank you. Erin Linville, do you introduce
Hi,
yourself?
I'm a non-voting member, but I work for the district. It's my 9th year and have been a champion of the middle school project since the last time around. And I'm so happy that we're at this place. Thank you so much for everyone being involved.
Yes, we call her Saint Erin for the fact that she's sort of gotten us here organizationally. So, Camilla, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi. My name is Camila Garcia. I have 2 children in middle school. There was on the Veritas school, the best school, and I work like childcare in Enlace Familia, and I am part sorry. I am part from school building committee.
That's great. Thank you. Kevin?
Okay, Kevin Jordan, newest member of the committee. Good to be with all of you. Representing the Holyoke City Council. I've been on the city council now. This is my 14th term. Pleased to be there. It finally took Joe McGivern to retire for me to finally get the #1 spot in seniority. And looking forward to keeping my colleagues engaged as to the tremendous progress that you're making. Really appreciate all the work of the committee to get us to this point. You're doing a phenomenal job, obviously. Just by way of my background, husband, father of 3 beautiful children, all of which have gone through the Holyoke Public Schools. I still have 1 left at Holyoke High School, and I'm an attorney. That's what I do for a living to actually pay my bills, and I work in corporate law, and I enjoy that very much. And it's nice to be able to contribute and do my part for the good people of Holyoke and on the city council. So good to be with all of you, and happy to do my part to contribute to the cause. Thank you.
Erin Fontaine Brunel, the other Erin.
Hi, everyone. So again, just to reiterate, no relation there. Yep. Being clear about that. Erin Brunel, I'm fortunate enough to be the vice chair of this wonderful committee, voted in by the members of the committee, which makes it that much better. I am also vice chair of the Holyoke School Committee now, which is awesome. I've been serving on the school committee for 10 years now. I'm also a local realtor here in town, so I feel like on the day to day, I'm fighting the battle with proving to people that Holyoke Public Schools is up to the task. So, just a huge advocate of education and understanding that it's the foundation to every single community and everything that you would want for your community. So just striving to put forth the best we can for our kids. So, happy to be here, happy to have gotten this project accomplished for our students.
All right, David Yost.
Yeah, thank you, Margaret. I'm a Holyoke resident, small business owner. My kids went to Holyoke schools, and now my grandkids. And I guess I can say I've been involved in the project from the beginning, either on one side or the other. And my focus has been financially trying to get the project done as economically as possible.
Okay, Kathy Ortiz, please.
Thank you. I'm Kathy Ortiz. I am a member of the community. I live in Ward 1. I work as a college and career readiness for students, middle school and high school in Holyoke and Springfield. I'm happy to be back, to be accommodated back in Holyoke High. So I'm just happy to start anytime soon there. And then that's pretty much what I do. Just advocate and work in education. Thank you.
Raina?
Hi, I'm Raina Lorenzi. I am a resident here. I have kids that go through the Holyoke public school system. They're both in elementary age. I myself went through the Holyoke public school system, and I'm just here like everybody else advocating for education. So thank you. And it's wonderful to see this project moving along.
Very exciting. Okay. Fearless leader Anthony Soto, please.
Hello, everyone. So, Superintendent here at Public Schools. I'm actually mentoring a student at Sullivan, and he had a basketball game today. Maybe promised him to watch multitasking here. Lifelong Holyoke, born and raised, and very excited about this project. I've been working on this project since 2016, and so happy that we're able to be at the point that we are and see this come to fruition. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. We got two more. Jessica Perella, please.
Hi, everybody. Hello, Tom. Hello, Fontaine Brothers. My name is Jessica Perella. I'm a community member here in Holyoke. I reside in Holyoke. I have 4 children in elementary level school. So I'm a parent. I'm an advocate for youth in general for my community. And I just have a strong passion for this project. I have a background in architecture. I'm in school for sustainable community development, and I'm a voting member, but I'm also in the working groups for academics. So I'm interested in the academia of it and the education. So it's a pleasure to meet you all, and thank you for what you're doing to bring this to life.
All right. Last but not least, Tim Keene, are you able to unmute yourself and say hello?
Yeah, I am. Hello, everybody. Tim Keene, born and raised in Holyoke. I'm a civil engineer by trade. I work in Long Meadow as a town engineer. Before that, I was in consulting for a lot of years. I'm also a Holyoke Water Commissioner, so maybe that'll factor in here. Four kids who went through Holyoke High. They all graduated. Full disclosure, Tom, you mentioned Jack Keene. That's my son. Hopefully that doesn't present a problem along the way, but
there's the mystery connection.
Okay.
That's about it.
I did not
We
know
like
that,
Jack.
Tim. That's great. So not in the meeting, but hopefully you'll meet another time, is Anya Ryan, who is also on the committee. She's the landscape architect, has kids in the district. And I think that's the group. So thank you, everybody. That was really helpful.
Very nice to meet everybody.
The last thing on the agenda was just, we've sort of looked forward on the construction side. I wanted Chris LeBlanc to say a little bit about next steps with the design pieces that are still in the offing, which include furniture, technology. So Chris, can you just talk about what the committee should anticipate for a schedule and looking at those materials going forward?
Sure. So, the next steps for those particular items, technology related, equipment, computers, printers, and things of that nature, as well as the furniture and other educational related equipment that will be procured and placed in the school. What we're going to look to do is, I'm going to reach out to both of our consultants. We want to typically start that process about a year before procurement. We anticipate getting these materials, if you will, and equipment delivered upon right after substantial completion, which is July 1st. Typically, that gets done and installed during the summer, and then when school is scheduled to open in September, everything's in place. Given the fact that that 1 year process happens during the summer, we understand that the staff and school department is on, the summer break. We're going to look to do it one of two ways. I'm going to try and get that started early to get the process going, and then we can pick it up again in September. The nice thing is, while we typically start it a year out, we do have some fluff in there for our consultant to meet with everybody, get the appropriate furniture selected. We want to make sure everything's flexible, get the appropriate and latest technology equipment assigned after meeting with staff. Get that out to bid. Most of it can be procured off the state contract. So that would start happening, kind of the intricate invoices or purchase orders put together probably a year from now, so that we can plan and take delivery upon substantial completion. So for the next meeting, what I will do is have a better idea on the schedule. As I mentioned, I'll talk to our consultants to see, do we need to start this before the summer, or is there enough time in the schedule, which I believe there is, to get it started in September? Everybody's back to school, they're fresh. We can start just moving forward on that. We typically will get furniture samples to look at delivered to the school district so that the subcommittee that's reviewing that can look at it, sit on it, get staff opinions and whatnot before we make that final choice. And the nice thing about that is Susan, who you've met from our office, our interior designer, has already gone through the process of presenting a color palette. So once we get that a little bit more defined moving forward, we can start integrating the color of the furniture and various pieces of equipment with that. So I'll have another update for the next meeting as to when we can, better start.
Awesome. And I think keeping in mind, Chris, too, like most of the district and staff and like school, we all kind of go back in August. So if you wanted to start late August, that would be fine too. I mean, everybody's re-engaged by then. It's really just like July that everybody kind of takes off.
Yeah. Well, Aaron, our experience has been, while that's certainly great, the first month is really about getting reacclimated. The teachers are coming back, new students. So we tend not to bother them with that task, let them get settled in. And once the flow starts, probably mid to late September, we can re-engage. So absolutely. And then, we'll go from there, but I'll keep everybody apprised as to, when we want to start. We can start discussing, or this team can start discussing who's going to be on that subcommittee, making decisions and bringing the information back to the building committee.
Awesome. It'll probably go to our current design subcommittee, which I think is led by Mr. Lubold, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, great. If no one has any questions on anything about that, which I do see Mark Lubold's hand up. So Mr. Lubold?
I just had a quick question. I don't know if it was last meeting or the meeting before, but there was a variance applied to the state for the plumbing. Has there been any movement on that, or what's kind of the status on that?
Well, Mark, so we're working with our plumbing engineer. getting the application together. As I mentioned, once we get the application submitted, takes about a month to review. They'll come back with a decision and set a hearing. They'll listen to our arguments in case, and then they'll take a month to determine that. So, for those who don't know, the plumbing code changed right after we put the project out to bid. They changed the fixture count for assembly spaces and some of the other uses. What that does for this project is two things. If the district wants to have the full occupancy load, they would have to open the second floor toilet rooms, which is minor. Our plumbing engineer did engage the plumbing board, the plumbing code board, and they've indicated that because of the timing of the change and a lot of projects going out to bid around that time, they've been getting a lot of calls on this. They're the ones that suggested we, on behalf of the district, apply for a variance. While they can't guarantee it, they said it's very likely it would be entertained. So we're moving in that direction.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And to confirm, Chris, like you said, worst case scenario is if they don't approve the variance, if we have large events in the gym / auditorium space, we would have to allow public access to an extra bathroom that would be down the hallway, correct? Versus the bathrooms that are designated for that space.
That's correct. On a second
That or
floor.
make a bigger bathroom, which obviously isn't in the plan.
Yeah, and Aaron, what we are also going to do is we will calculate the loads for the bathrooms that are there, so you have an idea. If you don't want to open up that second floor space, this would be the allowable load. And to be honest, that would really only be affected if you opened up the folding partition to use both the cafeteria and gym. One at a time. If you have youth groups or adult groups in the gym, it should suffice. Or if you have gathering in just the auditorium, cafetorium, you should be good to go there. So we'll provide that information to the district as well for their knowledge.
Okay, great. Does anybody else have any other questions? I don't see any hands up. All right, so moving along then, reviewing our next meetings. Again, third Thursday of the month. So we're looking at Thursday, March 21st, April 18th, May 16th, and June 20th. Just a point of note, I will not be in the country on June 20th. So Mr. Garcia will have to run that meeting unless something else happens. All right, great. Does anybody have anything else that they feel like they need to discuss tonight? There's nothing else on the agenda. So if not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I need a second.
I can
Second it.
All right, great. And there's probably no further discussion, but just, all those in favor. So if you can raise your
Aye.
physical hand or use your digital hand so that the count takers can get count, because voice doesn't work as well when we're on Zoom. Just hold them up there for a second, guys.
I see them all.
All right, wonderful. So just officially, any opposed? Seeing none. Thank you all. Meeting is officially adjourned, and we will see you right in the heart of green season on March 21st.
Thank you. Nice to meet everybody.
Thanks,
Thank you, everybody. Have
Good
a great
night,
night.
everyone.
Thank you. Bye.